Hey there, folks. It's me again. I'm back to do another one of these post-bar reviews of the games I recorded earlier today. The first one, round three, I was on board two. I was recording Yuan Zhou versus Ryan Li. Yuan Zhou is a great guy. He's one of the older guys in the field this year. He's done a lot for American Go. It's got a lot of respect for that guy. He's done a lot for Go here in America, and Ryan Li is crazy wind on KGS. He's still a young sprout. Lots he could do. Very interesting guy. He plays crazy wind, famous for playing his blitz games. Mr. Joe is also he uses all of his clocks. So these two players had really different styles, and it was a lot of fun to record as a result. So let's get into it. Right from the start, Ryan plays star point, and Yuan Zhou's first move is just approach immediately. And I don't know whether he was just feeling his oats this morning or what, but no mistaking what that move says. It's like, all right, let's do something. So he sets up some sort of mini Chinese opening, and when black plays here, this limits the ability of anything that he does here to aim at building anything over here. So, it's still a Fuseki. It's fine. Nothing's wrong yet. But then white makes this really interesting choice. He makes this pincher, and then when black approaches, instead of a usual Joseki like this, um, instead of this, when black attaches, white bumps. And this is not usually found in Joseki books. It's sometimes under trick plays. So this is, and the trick is that black doesn't want to play either of these Ataris. They end up helping white. The answer is usually to Hane here. And now white's problem is how to deal with the cutting stone. And in this case, the ladder works fine. It was really fun watching both players read the zigzags and what ladder breakers would be available. Because white can choose between this ladder, playing out one more step before turning and making it a ladder, but he doesn't. He plays this ladder. And whether that's because of the ladder breakers he was looking at, or whether it's because he likes this shape better, I don't know. You'd have to ask him. But as a ladder breaker, when black plays here, and white removes any ladder breaker AGA, that's white treated that as sente, which means white then just got to come back and answer this stone. So this wasn't like it was a ladder breaker in the sense that he got two moves in a row. He didn't. He actually answered white capturing. So anyway, that is an interesting point. It's not like this Fuseki is bad for black by any means. I think that this result here is maybe better for black. Maybe not a lot better, but better all the same. Because black gets sente, and he also gets to fart around with ladder breakers if there's any other positions. I think maybe this is a good result for black up here, which is kind of unintuitive because this looks like such a thick shape, but not a lot comes of it. Anyway, so white takes the initiative on this stone that's hanging out here to kick it and pinch her, and black tanukis it to attack this guy and also limit the effectiveness of anything white's going to try and build from this thickness. But white doubles down on the attack, and black takes the opportunity to cap this off. This is sort of like a dueling potential. White's area here is larger than black's area here, but these stones have a little bit more life than the white stones. So it's I don't know. It's a potential trade. Those are pretty interesting. So white activates immediately, and when black plays here, white can't just connect. That's going to be really painful. He can't fight a ko, so he has to sort of switch to the other side. And for the same reasons, black can't fight a ko, so he's going to connect. And then play here. And so this is an interesting position here for white, because again, black gets sente, and he gets to make this big extension in the right direction from his enclosure. And when white approaches that enclosure and black does a sweep, it's hard to complain about black's position here. I think that if white does something over here to settle a base, black just gets another move to activate these, and white has very few points. So Yuan Zhou was really thoughtful about this move. He didn't seem really happy with a lot of his options. He ended up sighing and playing this one. And because he's trying to get rid of as much of AGA here as he can, but there's still a lot left. Ryan dives in, probes there, slides here. He's looking at had a lot of this different AGA. So when white blocks, I don't know, man. It's hard for white to keep black from getting something here. So high, black cuts, white comes here, and black switches, and white can't go after it really strongly without black being able to connect back here and lose everything. So white comes back and fixes here, which gives black a hane. So his shape here is pretty nice. And now these stones up here are kind of cut off, and just gripping this stone maybe isn't enough for life. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Either way, white's going to look at being shut in. So white jumps out, which gives black the ability to draw his stone out. And now this is a tricky position. What these guys have to look forward to. White plays here, and Ryan's next move here was really an example of good technique. I gave a couple of these talks on not helping your opponents make shape. And one of the ways that we do that, like, nothing would be more obvious right now than to do, Atari, and let white grip this stone, and then maybe, I don't know, find some point out here, and black would be alive. But this is actually not a good sequence for black. Instead of just doing 1, 2, 3, maybe we don't play 1 and 2 here. Maybe we do this with the idea that white isn't in a hurry to play 1 himself. So because white isn't in a hurry to play here, maybe black doesn't actually need to exchange 1 for 2 as much as he thinks he does. Maybe he can just play 3. As it turns out, this is a lot better. White plays the same Atari that we looked at previously, but now there's less options available for him. After black connects, white is still looking for something to do here that gets rid of all of the AGA in the position, and it's tough. So he pushes here. He's trying to take care of this weak group, and black takes the opportunity to force one more while he has the chance, and then comes back and plays this one. And if black had played here earlier, he wouldn't have had the ability to do this Atari instead. So I don't know. This was a really great technique. When white captures and black plays here, this is a much better result than the other one we looked at, where black pushes in. Right? Black was actually able to develop a much better shape here than the other way. So this was a really interesting example to me of good technique. Good technique. And so white here kind of at a loss for where to play next. I think white ended up playing here. And so if we count the territory here, this was white's big potential, and this has been held to only 30 points. So if you count, with black's windfall here, with this here, this here, this here, black is already caught up on territory, and the difference is that everywhere else is potential for black, and there's nowhere else that white can really make points. So this is already going to be a tough game. So black just needs to sort of settle here and then make just a couple of extensions, and he's going to have a pretty comfortable lead. So anyway, so black just needs to settle, and white is trying to keep him from settling, so he sweeps the base. And I was looking around here, maybe black plays here, maybe black plays here, maybe he plays here, these different shapes I'm looking at. The most severe one was this one, and, dares white to try either of these cuts. Of course, it's a terrible idea. And white eventually, has to go back and do this. And then when black comes back and plays here, this is a much richer eye shape. Let's see, white jumped, black jumped, and then white also, he doesn't need another group. If he can't connect this to this, he needs to settle these so he's not floating everywhere. Unfortunately, even when he goes to the max with the contact plays, this isn't enough to be settled. This is still not going to be enough for white, but This is interesting. I wondered why black put this here. I didn't understand the shape that he was aiming at. I still don't understand the shape that he was aiming at. But I guess maybe it was this attachment. He plays this attachment to work on the AGA here and build eye shape for him. And white hung tough with this one. I thought for sure black was going to play here. But again, the more severe move works out better. Now that this is here, this is a hard thing for white to handle. He plays here. And again, I'm like, oh, does black play here? Then white gets this. Does black play here? Then white gets this. I was like, oh, which one does he do? Right, black plays here, white plays here. Oh, if black plays here, white plays here. What's it gonna do? Hey, he does this one. This is again the most severe option and the one that's most interesting. So, and it leaves white with very little choice. He has to spend more moves capturing these stones. White forces one more time to sort of make some more defects in black shape. And then, did I miss this move? Did white play this move? Looks like white played this move. Oh, that's what I missed. Right here. I think before he cuts, no, after he cuts, but before he comes back to play 3, he exchanges this one first, with the idea that this has to be exchanged for this, because otherwise, if white ignores it to play here, this is just painful. Maybe black forces this way. You don't want to fight this ko. Well, now it's 4 to 3. White doesn't like that either. So black exchanges this for this before coming back to play here. This is much better than either of those moves I was looking at. This one is. So exchanging that before playing here solved that problem for me. And then when white plays here and here, I was like, that can't be right, otherwise white loses his capturing it. Anyway, white exchanges this move to sort of put another defect in black shape before he has to come back and play Atari on these 4 stones. So white ended up actually investing a lot to capture these. I mean, it's not a small corner, but it's white's only territory here. So this is, white ends in gote. Black doesn't owe another move here. So when he comes back here, let's see. So yeah, so after this point, no, black doesn't take sente there. Black takes sente up here. And that's right, and this is painful. I think white plays here and black plays here. White's trying to, threaten to connect, but this one actually still interferes with the ability of these 2 stones to connect up here. So even though, white could do something like this, this is enough to keep white from being able to come through here. Interesting position. So let's see. White answers, has to keep running. Black gets the peep in. Does he play this one? I don't think he does. I think that's when black then comes back over here. Oh, you know what? Black actually had exchanged this earlier. I forgot. I don't know when. I think he does it when white plays here. I'll have to go back and check. Anyway, when white plays here, we're beginning to attack this, and you can see how this game is going to spiral out of control for white. Black's got this target. He's got whatever this target is. White can't give it up. I mean, it's way too much for white to give up. Because, again, if we look at the points, black is already in good shape. Oh, you know what? I should do this right. That move never gets played. Black plays there, white plays there. Black forces. And then comes over here. Yeah, so this isn't played. The answer to this one is this one. So yeah, white can't give this up. It's way too big. And, oh, let's get the other force. Not sure when that was. Oh yeah, that was here. Anyway. Whew. Anyway, too many beers. Where was I? Yeah, so it's tricky for white now because he's got this group to worry about. He's got this group to worry about. He's got something over here to worry about that's he can't sacrifice it. It'd be way too much. And his only territory is countable now. It's 30 points. Like, that's what white has to work with. He's got these 30 points. And in contrast, black has a lot more potential here. So it's going to be real hard for white for the rest of this game. But I had one more thing I wanted to talk about, which was Black's technique at attacking this group. So the first we peep to make them heavy, and I was looking around here because this exchange here makes this interesting shape. I'm like, if he does this one, black doesn't really like this because he can't, that's not, while this is nice and connected here, it's not effective enough on that connection. You do something like this. It's not clear how you continue because you still will owe a move. White has this clamp to aim at if you try and do something. I mean, this doesn't work, but there's more points for white here that help white get off his shape here. So I'm looking around. I'm trying to read, how black is going to continue the attack. And this move, I was like, oh, of course, that solves all of those problems. Like now if white wants to do this, black has forced white to be cut this way. Then if black just plays here, maybe we don't wedge immediately. Maybe black is going to do this, and white. When we do this, white isn't going to play here. White's going to choose a different option. Oops, that's not good. Right? Does that make sense? By playing this directly, it means that if you want white to transpose this, you're essentially forcing white into a choice that white wouldn't have made if you'd played it directly. Does that make sense? Anyway, this is a really severe point. It's really hard for white to do something here. So this was a great example of finding that vital point. Just looked so hard. I think white ended up having to come through like this. And then this one or this one? I think it was this one. Anyway, the rest of the game is really interesting. But these were the three things I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about, this great way to find a more severe point than you otherwise would. I wanted to talk about, roll back, about how to find, the more severe move here, both like looking for the cut, and then also, if you don't like either of these moves, broaden your horizon a little bit, look a little bit farther, and use this AGA to the complete utmost. And what else was there? There was, oh yeah, this Hane. I love this Hane. This is a great example of not taking the unimportant point. Like, this looks like a natural thing, but this is actually a point that neither side wanted. And this was a great way to end up getting it the right way, right? You wanted to force white to do things your way. So now if you're going to take this point, you're going to take it the way you wanted to, which is actually capturing the stone. That was the important part of the shape. So this was such a great example of technique. Anyway, great game. Two great players. Had a lot of fun casting it. And let's move on to the next one.